Hello world, I'm Everett, and this is Practical Python. In this video, I'll cover setup and everything you need to start creating and running Python programs. To code any program, you need two things: a way to create files filled with code, and a way to execute that code. The first thing has many ways of being done, kind of like how you can write your essay on Word, Google Docs, etc. We can similarly write our code using many different editors. Some popular examples are VS Code, Atom, Notebook, Vim, etc. We're going to use VS Code. Follow the link in the description to end up here. You'll probably want the default option, so just click that to download the file. Now let's install it. And go ahead and just accept the default settings. Now choose your theme. I always use the dark theme. And we'll also install the Python extension as well. Our editor is now ready to use. Now we can create files and fill them with code. Now that we have a way to create files of code, let's install Python on our own computer that can actually interpret and run them. That's what a programming language is. It takes our files of text, which we wrote in the syntax or rules of that particular language, and instructs the computer to do as we specified in the code. There are actually several ways to set up your computer to be able to run Python code, and we'll be using Anaconda. This provides a nice way to handle a lot of the background details that we don't need to make complicated. Download Anaconda the same way you did VS Code, also in the description. Install with the default settings, except here, check Add Anaconda 3 to path. Once it's done, open up a command prompt by typing cmd into the Windows search bar and type conda to make sure it's installed. It'll display a message like this. Now, Anaconda has something called environments, which basically make playgrounds that we can code in. When we install something using conda, it will only install to that environment. That way, when we mess something up, it only messes up one environment. The default environment is called base, and we'll activate it by typing conda activate base. Now, when we type Python, it will let us start executing lines of code. We are now ready to go. Now let's tie these two things together. Let's open a folder that VS Code can use to store everything. I made one called code, but you can use anything you want. We'll create a new file, tell VS Code that it's a Python file, and write a nice simple hello world program. Let's save it in the folder, and now we officially have a file of Python code ready to execute. In order to actually do that, I'm going to use the command prompt and navigate to the folder where I saved the file. You can see it show up when I type the command dir. Activate our base environment by typing conda activate base, and now to get Python to run that file of code, I'm going to type Python followed by the name of my file. Hit enter, and the Python programming language takes in my code, interprets it on my actual computer, and prints out hello world like we coded it to. Now, this might seem a little confusing, so there's actually an easier way to execute code if you feel like it. Just go back to VS Code, hit the little run triangle in the top right corner, and VS Code does all the hard work for us. With that, we have everything set up to start coding and running more complex programs, which I'll cover in other videos. Drop questions in the comments, or just let me know if you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. We'll continue learning next time.